Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is New. Nice to meet you, dear. If you're returning, ooh, yes, we're back everybody for Luxe Workshop. This is where I bring you all on a journey with me of building my very own oracle deck, everyone. Yay! Last episode, I unveiled this property map. Today we're going to work with that map some more. I also last episode um brought you into each setting. I provided a sentence on what each setting does, what its purpose is, why it exists. Today we're going to come back to that concept as I unveil the setting theme for each location today, everyone. Yay! And after that, we're going to use the new foundation and awareness, that sense of navigation that comes with the clarity of, really understanding the locations in a mundane, ordinary day sense to do what I call a daily stroll, okay? So we're going to use the draft oracle cards to pull some beginning of the day, midday, end of day energies and really walk the path together that the settings reveal, okay? So let me not get too ahead of myself, y'all. Let's go ahead and start with the settings and the themes to help you ground even more when in the new love oracle world what's going on, okay? Let's start with the kitchen where we usually start. The theme of the kitchen is provision and care, okay? This is where upkeep happens. Let's see, let's go garden. The garden theme is encounters or community. This is the most public facing setting. Let's go workshop. The workshop is about discovery, okay? This is something a little more mystical, a little more chaotic, definitely a lot more chaotic than the type of growth you see in the greenhouse, okay? The workshop is where a lot of things start to make sense. They start to piece themselves together right before your eyes, okay? The greenhouse is about cultivation. This is where we actually bring things to form through research, study, development, progression, experiment, okay? Let's go from the greenhouse up in elevation to our highest point, our overlook. What's that overlook theme, eh? Recognition. Recognition, I tell you. This is where we separate from usual perceptions, ordinary, everyday perceptions. We zoom out and think differently with the purpose of finding clarity, finding movement, solutions, answers, support, encouragement. We make it make sense in the overlook, bro. We have our second to last setting, the white room, which is about restoration. And very many, especially for me, I love the word unplug, okay? This is a disconnect, an escape, a release, a retreat, all in one, depending on the mood, okay? And then we'll come from our white room down to our last beautiful setting, our rose alcove. This is a place for intimacy, okay? It's where belonging happens and maturity in love situations. This is a love that is not forceful here. Okay. Now we're going to do a couple of example paths in live action. So when we move into the last fun part of today's episode, which is our daily stroll, we'll already have like the mental muscle of navigating this estate with presence and clarity, okay? One path that is very common is the movement, the engagement, the interaction between the kitchen, the white room and the kitchen, okay? The white room being about unplug, the kitchen being about provision, care, upkeep. It's like I've had my release in the white room. Now I'm going back to the kitchen to get back into regular rhythms to fuel and nourish myself, my body. and start all over with life again. I totally picture the white room to the kitchen. It's like late night quiet movement too, like maybe I was up playing video games or doom scrolling and just got attached, detached, disconnected from the world and reality, right? It's 2 a.m. Now I need a late night snack. Like, that's white room energies as well. Let's say if someone was initially in the white room with distress and they leave this space still in distress, not soothed, not comfortable, they sort of escape the white room frustrations and intensity and to go to the kitchen where, memories of home, there's people, the pets, the animals are here. This place just kind of softens and warms you up and holds you, okay? That's what this kitchen is about. All right, so let's think about like kitchen again. We started with the white room in the kitchen. Now let's do energies, pathways, what it's like to engage from kitchen to garden to workshop. I would call the kitchen garden workshop path like a day that's close to home, the garden being the most public. It's like a day where you're handling a lot of errands. This would be a day of like laundry, meal prep, cooking and cleaning, coming to the garden to tend. Maybe there's an event or a party that's being hosted on the property coming up soon. So you're moving back and forth between the kitchen, setting up, right? With the workshop, it's kitchen, garden, workshop. There's some sense of like fun and play, but there is actual tools and creativity that you are pulling out of the workshop into the garden, into the kitchen, okay? So this is like errands around the house, upkeep, redecorating, inspire movement close to home, okay? Now let's take a different sort of path between the garden, the greenhouse, and our rose alcove. So starting in the garden, this would be the best place on the property to meet someone new, okay, to come across a stranger, right? So we start in the garden. Turns out you've met someone who aligns with you with career, business, visions. There's actually ways for you guys to do business. There's networking and information, cards exchanged here, social media handles type shit. Then we go to the greenhouse. We've had a very good connection in the greenhouse. Shit, we done went on a stroll, right? Now we're walking and talking. We're just getting to know each other. In cultivation, we're cultivating the process of learning each other, meeting each other more. In the greenhouse, we might share some of our previous projects and experiences, building upon what we learned about each other here on the way to the greenhouse, right? So I just picture in the greenhouse, like there's this sharing of a gift, a resource, or maybe a project that's under keeps. It's like, look, I'm going to let you in on something I'm in the midst of right now, right? And then this spark, this understanding that there's real connection and room for growth and development. Here, it's like, look, we've been talking all day. We clearly see that we're going to move forward and do some business together after this in some sense. Let's lock it down into the rose alcove where it's about belonging and maturity, not force. When we could get to know each other with, like some snacks, some chocolate and some fruits, sun's coming down, a little watching look, maybe we're just admiring the view, or maybe there's some media here, like a comedy or a movie that we watch. So what started as, not knowing someone led to mutual sharing, finding similarities, interest developed, and then connection on a deeper level that is about, vulnerability, maturity, truly allowing to see a person as they are. And that's when their guard is down, okay? That's what the rose alcove is about, letting that guard down type shit. All right, y'all. So that's just some examples of some of the very meaningful, simple, beautiful paths and strolls journeys that the property holds, okay? We're going to do our daily stroll, pull 3 cards, beginning of the day, midday, end day energies, and just talk them aloud. All we're focused on is pulling 3 settings, okay? And then we're going to use the settings to talk aloud what that day looks like, beginning, middle, end. Damn, I got victory at last, team player. One more. And we'll just look at the settings, okay? One more. And they're all different settings. Now that's really fun. Okay. This is going to be a very interesting path. And I'm going to tell y'all why. Because I care less about y'all seeing those notes, but they are kind of helpful. We have our victory at last taking place in the overlook setting. Okay. We have team player taking place in the garden. And then we have open door at the greenhouse. So they came out in this order: overlook, garden, greenhouse. We're starting the day with recognition. Maybe this day opened with prayer. Maybe it's a Sunday or an off day, like a day off of work type of vibe, right? Midday. Okay, so day starting very holy, sanctified. It feels like even though we're starting here, your belly's full, your cup is full, you're taken care of. Maybe you already had restorative sleep and a good meal the night before. Okay. Team player in the garden. We come from the overlook with this gratitude, this receptivity, and this acceptance of what's happening around us is not in our control, but we coexist with it. And there's power in believing, trust in the process. We come down into the garden. This card happens to be about team playing, which makes sense, right? It seems like now we've linked up with some people in our network, in our community. Maybe there's just calling, texting here, reaching out, FaceTime type of thing. There is a spirit of collaboration and sharing that's inspired from this fullness that you receive, that you recognize, that you're aware of to ground this day. This is a good day, ain't it? Okay, so there's this sharing. We've gotten into the midday energy. I feel like this is a good start, but I definitely have more energy. I want to do naturally more growing. This is not the end of the day, right? So there's some work to be done. I haven't even talked about what setting is coming up, but when we think about the concept of work, we're probably thinking workshop or greenhouse as our next step naturally, right? Maybe even kitchen if we're doing meal prep, cooking, cleaning, laundry type of shit. But look what's next anyway. Open door, this is a greenhouse setting card. So I've done some sharing, some ideas, some giving back. Maybe I went and did some volunteer work or just tapped in. I went, slid downtown, you feel me, by the water, whatever, seen some faces, familiar places type shit. Okay, boom. Last but not least, ending the day at the greenhouse, working with cultivation. I have a day that's ending on a productive note where I'm working on something that I'm learning, building, discovering, yes, but researching especially. Okay, this today is the grounds for a breakthrough kind of day in the greenhouse because I'm grounded in this expansive, receptive perception today. So what I go ahead and observe, the kind of growth that I see taking place, there's something also likely, surely new to be learned here in this pathway today leading to tonight. Okay, let's use the tarot to pull maybe 1 or 2 cards to wrap up, beloved. We're going to use the tarot to ask what small gestures now would help us to walk this path meaningfully. Okay, so what could we think about to support, the energies as they already are? What would be simple but small, but sure to be meaningful on a day like this, when journeying these paths on the estate, beloved, in the oracle world, I have the Chariot, which is about movement, progress, action, willpower, and integration. So with the overlook, you started today connected in faith, in reflection. And you brought those reflections down into the community and into your tasks, your to-do list, what's coming up next for you. Let's keep going about small, meaningful gestures, because I definitely do like the Chariot. And then we have the Ten of Cups. These are both very happy energies, fulfilled energies. This is the happiest card besides the Sun card in the deck, okay? So emotional welcome, right? I'm hearing the word contentment in a crazy ass way, as in content in the mint. Like, the recognition that you started your day with almost allows you to appreciate all of the settings and take in the facts, the awareness that they all play a unique, important part. And so it helps ultimately to have this sense of belonging and bliss as a part of your perception, how you carry yourself through this day. You can expect you can expect realizations and achievements and like power plays, empowered decision making to come when we think about belonging, as the nature. Everything belongs. It has a time and a place type shit. Thank you so much, dear beloved, for enjoying this journey with me where time and place do serve their parts, okay? Let me know what you think in the comments of this episode. I look so forward to tapping in with y'all again. And if you like the series or just want to catch up, check my description box for the Luxe Workshop playlist, okay? Thanks so much, y'all. See you soon.